and external barriers. The internal barrier these are the barriers that can affect the organization. Can affect organization. This one can be between principal and teachers and stakeholders, or even community members. And the external barrier can be about the government, that is political, economic, and also the social barriers. Panina next. The next is what are what are the modes of communication preferred by the principal in colleges? Here, when we talk about the modes of communication, we are just talking about the method. Here we can say like meetings, when principals have meetings or when hold meetings with face to face with the stakeholders or workshop. This one can improve communication. And also we have the digital communication like email, online, and also video calling. It makes one to concentrate more on the during the class session. Next, Penina. Then, then next is conceptual framework. Under conceptual framework, we have the communication. Under a conceptual framework, I just forgot to indicate here communication strategies. That those are my independent variables. Then performance are dependent. Then we have the control variable. Under communication strategies, we have constant stakeholders. Here we say that constant stakeholders. This one it can be good relationships, and through this one it can increase performance, and also increase advocacy. Here we say that the performance moves from one to another step, like by being good in numbers. Then partnership with private sectors. Here we say that TVET should have partnership or good relationship with the private sectors and also the government. Then networking, good network in the TVET. Then performance, that is dependent variable. That is to address the challenge of poor performance among the students and also even the teachers, how the resources are being allocated, and also how the principal addresses or how he or she relates with the stakeholders at large. Then skills and knowledge innovation, success in careers, engineering, then address skill gap also plumbing. Then control variables, that is communication skills. The communication skills should be positive, which lead to good interaction among the stakeholders. Then sex, it can be either a female or male. Next slide. Next slide, Penina. Penina,
It's
next
already
slide.
there, Pauline.
Pauline, I think you're now taking too much time. There's a lot of leeway for you. If it goes on like that, you might have to present again later. Please proceed and finish. Don't explain too many things. Just give us points. You are well beyond your time of 10 minutes.
I'm waiting for Penina to mount my slide, or should I just continue?
They are there. I can see them from here. It's you who is not seeing from your side. And that's why I'm saying you probably weren't very ready to present today.
No, I'm just using phone. So next, Penina, go to the slide after conceptual framework.
It's there, Pauline.
Okay, the study location. The research is going to focus on communication in technical,
Penina, can you present on her behalf? Can you read those things that she has written there? I guess there aren't very many slides left. Pauline, this is unacceptable.
pardon, doctor.
Penina, kindly present on her behalf. Read, I guess
Yes,
there are not
okay.
many that are left there, and just read on her behalf.
John?
I'm using the phone, that's why. Let me just continue and finish. Study location, the research is going to focus on communication in technical and vocational educational training, that is TVET, in Malaba sub-county because Kakamega has high number of teachers and students, hence easy for study.
Kuna Dean ndio na sign. Dean. Unajua Dean? You are not student or new student. Eh?
Then
Unamjua?
next is methodology. A descriptive survey research design will be used in this study. This design will help in generating answers in a statistical form for easier interpretation of data. The process of sampling data, I will look at the purposive sampling. Table will be also be drawn to determine the process of generalization of population. That is according to law 2007. Next. And the next, Penina. Mark Penina the slide.
Oh, please.
Next slide.
Hello, Pauline, it's there.
I can't see from my side, but let me just continue. Then the research instrument, I'll use the questionnaire where I'll give the questions to the principal, teachers, and the students. Then observation, I'll observe what will be happening in the TV during my research. Interview, that will be close-ended question. Then table and pie chart will also be drawn to determine the numbers and how the stakeholder will be reactive to the research. Then I have my references that is according to Bloomberg FC 2010 communication, the process barrier and improving effectiveness. Then we go 2018 white paper rethinking higher education, law 2007 research methodology, a toolkit of sampling and data analysis. I had a few references for I knew that my supervisors will lead me accordingly. Then Doctor, I apologize for this because it has been a hindering. I welcome you. Thank you. That is the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pauline. That was very challenging. We haven't had anything like that before. So that would have required that you either go to Penina's house or something like that and present from there. Nevertheless, that's fine. So I'll say a few things, then I'll ask my colleagues to come in, and then we will open it up to the others. Your title is Effective Communication Strategies for Increasing Performance in Post-Secondary Education. There is a problem with this because you already think that the performance is low. So how about if you go to a place where performance is high? Technical and vocational training, and you have put those in brackets in Malava sub-county. So if you go to some TVC, whatever you mean by performance, so what suggests that this performance is low? and what is the yardstick. At Form 4 level, you can say that performance is low if it's below D+. D+ and above is a pass, actually. C+ is going to the university. What is the yardstick at TVCs for you to say that this is low? And then you again have you've already set yourself up again by saying effective communication strategies. Are those TVCs engaging in ineffective, so that they are now in problem? So you want effective. So there is a problem with this title, and then effective communication strategies. Those are too many. What strategies are you talking about? We agreed that your title needs to have two variables, X and Y, very simple at the basic level where you can measure. So if there are 10 strategies, pick one, go to the literature, read around and see which one is it. So you pick one and then you see how is it going to be measured. Then what is the outcome? You're looking at the effect of that against this. Then every other thing can go into control variables, so that you do not talk about effective communication strategies. Those could be 100. How are you going to deal with those as an X, as an X variable? Yeah, so that is that's a bit complicated. And then if you look at your objectives, the objectives are not stemming from the title. You're talking of process. How do you measure a process? If the process is going to begin, the process of communication is going to begin today, when will it end? You're talking of a process. So it's something that we have to keep looking at. So that's I think, let me just, I'm using your document here. The document for these presentations is in the folder. Anyone can access that in the folder and look at it. So you are saying to establish the process of communication in post-secondary education. Establish the process of communication. It's already there. So why do you want to establish what it's there? Why do you want to tell us that the sun rises from the east? We know that already. So establishing the process of communication is like you want to go and say, this is what is there as. I think it's already there, so that doesn't. And then you can see it's also just one-sided. It doesn't deal with your objectives must be X on Y, X on Y. Either association of X on Y and Y, or effect of X and Y on Y. But if you look at your objective one, there is nothing. There is no Y. What's the outcome variable? It is to establish the process of communication in post-secondary education. There is no outcome variable. Objective 2, to establish the effects of effective communication in colleges. There is no, where did you leave your performance? And then to establish the roles of effective communication in colleges. Again, there is no why there. And all the objectives need to be redone. I think you first need to get your title right. And then look at how now can you get the objectives from there. The simple way is think always about, if you want to get a good title. Again, perhaps we agreed that you need to read through theses. You read through theses in our library, online, and other universities and so on. An area of interest like TVET, what is it, what have people done, and what is pending. But for a title, usually the best way is to look at like what we used to say in class, the effect of educational attainment, or education attainment, if you like, education level, on earnings or on emoluments, employee emoluments. So you can measure education. People have either primary, incomplete, and so on, or you can measure that in number of years. And then you can now correlate that with how much they earn. Those are very simple and basic objectives that can be variables that can be measured. So always when you want to come up with a title, think about that and say, how easily can I measure this thing? So when you come up with effective communication strategies, already that is too broad. Too broad, too large. We don't know how we'll measure that. So then, yeah, and then your outcome variable, which you've completely forgotten in the objectives, is performance. You say to increase performance. Which performance are you talking about?
Let me see.
And how do you measure it? If you are talking of academic achievement, what are you looking at? Do those guys, do they sit like national exams and their pass rates, or do they sit college exams? Are they more practical? I think I've seen Wilberforce Jahonga here. He can be able to tell us about this performance. And if you're talking of performance, it needs to come out clearly. Is it academic performance? Is it drama? There have been games going on for TVETs. I think Jahonga told me that. I think, national games have been going on. So what are you talking about? Performance in games? Which games? Performance in contracting, employee, customer satisfaction? What performance are you talking about? That is not as small unit as possible to enable you to measure it. So I think largely that's what I'll say. And then your descriptive research design vis-a-vis the title, they don't go. Your title seems to be wants to have two, X and Y. And maybe you want to look at the effect of X on Y, but your descriptive research design will not handle that relationship between X and Y. So thank you. Let me open it up and give to my colleagues. Yes, Dr. Buheri.
Oh, thank you so much, Pauline, for that presentation. Though you really stressed us throughout your presentation. She wants to measure as her dependent variable with the performance. We are wondering, she wants to measure, does she want to measure employee performance, or does she want to measure productivity? I think she needs to revisit her conceptual framework. But again, ask herself, what does she want to achieve in this study? That should be able to guide her. Thank you. Back to you, Chair. Ama network ilipotea. Back to you.
Yeah, network ni shida.
I hope the chair is in.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, Jahonga, you wanted to contribute?
Yeah, thank you, Chair and COD. It's long time, Daktari Buhere. I'll just concerned chair about the study location. I don't know how many TVET institutions are in Malaba sub-county and which level of TVET. Are they the youth polytechnics she's talking about, or the, the other TVET institutions that exist? And if they are the general TVET institutions that we know about, I don't know which specific one that exists in Malava sub-county. That's one. Then in her conceptual framework, she has narrowed in to plumbing, addresses skill gaps in plumbing. I don't know. So if there are the those other polytechnics, the county polytechnics, yes, probably then now she could refine. But then now again, she's talking about principles communication. So I don't know now how that is merging up. Is it the communication of the students themselves? Because the output seems to be on the skills of the trainees. And then two, she's referring to teachers. So if it is the TVET Act of 2013 that is talking about TVET institutions, teachers are referred to as trainers. So that's why I'm still wondering which specific level of TVET she's talking about. Then just like you've said, the title, I think we don't know actually what's supposed to be measured at the end of the day. What is it and what's the problem? So what's the communication? Who is communicating to who? And is that really a problem? This morning I was just solving a Roma problem from a student. They are saying that when we are admitting students, we are making them have unnecessary processes, so they are wasting so much on the line. And it was through our WhatsApp forum, so I had to respond and tell them that we are using a maximum of 8 minutes to serve a student. And I thought that was addressing some issue of communication. So is this the kind of communication you're saying? So is it now improving performance on service delivery, as it were, or it has to improve on whatever it is? Is it the academic performance? Is it service delivery? Is it sports, as the chair was saying? So those are some of the things that I was thinking. Maybe you could take me through the methodology. Yeah, I don't see any. I don't know what the methodology in this study. At the end of the day, maybe the presenter could clarify. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pauline, do you have anything to say?
For myself, I was just looking at on performance. I was just looking about the general performance, but I have at least got some ideas, so I'm just going to work on it to choose on what to do. Then, as I will be guided by you, Doctor.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you. Let me open it up to others in the boardroom. We've had Wilberforce. Any other person with input?
On what happened? This is the thing.
I don't know if you can be able to get me. I'm having a quick talk, but I can have some small insight in the work. I saw, I don't know whether somebody else has talked about it. I saw some about 5 objectives. I was okay concerned that this will be, even if they are not much well done, you do them well. 5 objectives would be really a big task for you. Just much some good. share what you want to measure, even though the work, the whole, just the entire work, as far as concerned, is in question. And then the structure of the conceptual framework, I also had some small issue with it. The control variables, again, maybe you can just go there. I'm seeing arrow leading from the performance, what we're calling performance, towards the control variable. I believe, not unless maybe corrected, I believe it's not very well done, the position of the arrow or the direction of the arrow. Otherwise, you ought to correct it all the way from the title. We've been directed polling, and then maybe lastly on the presentation, just the entire presentation, that's actually been kind of a challenge to follow, rather just to listen, because sometimes it's just good to follow when you directed. This one helps you to do here, even with the network we are struggling with. I would just sometimes humble down and get help. Otherwise, thank you for the at least start. It's better than zero. Thank you, Pauline, and for that. Thank you, Daktari.
Yeah, thank you, Cyrus. I think, Pauline, you have a lot of helpful comments that have come forth. This should be able to help you to think around your area of TVET and what exactly you want to study around there. Yeah, general performance, there isn't anything like general performance. I heard you say you're interested in general performance. General performance is difficult to measure. What is general performance? And we have told you that performance can be either academic, it can be in service delivery. Maybe those TVETs have a strategic plan, so it is they're rolling out of the strategic plan, you're measuring performance around that, customer satisfaction. That can be a measure of performance, where maybe they have a questionnaire and asking their students how good they are doing in rolling out the programs and how the health of the institution. They can get that feedback. So there are very many measures of what we would want to call performance at institutional level, and even the graduates. What is the review of the employers? If there are those people who have employed those graduates, what is their review of those graduates? If those graduates are in self-employment, how are they doing? That could be another measure. So if you say you want to measure general performance, that's very difficult to measure. So you need to always break these things into the very minute measurable levels. That's helpful. So I guess that we're just opening up your area so that you are able to then sum up these things. So thank you very much. I think Penina, you could pull down that, and then we now invite Lewis. Lewis, can you introduce yourself and then present? You have 10 minutes to do that.
Okay, thank you. Daktari, thank you, Daktari. Sorry for that. I'm trying to use two gadgets. My laptop is really having a low network, so sorry for that. So through the chair, I would just like to introduce myself. I'm Matekwa Lewis, a student undertaking a master's degree in educational management and policy studies. I'm a teacher by profession. I work at a Budum